Hello, and welcome back to Spooky English. This is the podcast where you can practice your English while listening to strange and supernatural stories.
Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm your other host, Jake. We are so happy you are here for our third episode.
That's right. In our first episode, we explored the world of ghosts and haunted houses.
And last time we looked up at the stars and talked about aliens and UFOs.
Today, we are coming back to Earth. We are going deep into the forests of North America to talk about a very famous and very large creature.
You guessed it. Today we are talking about the legend of Bigfoot.
So, Jake, let's just get it out there. The big question. Do you, personally, believe that Bigfoot is a real living creature?
Absolutely, 100%. For me, it just seems so possible.
Really? Tell me why.
Well, think about the size of North America. There are huge areas of forest, especially in the Pacific Northwest of the United States and in Canada, where people almost never go.
That's true. They're vast.
Vast is the perfect word. It feels completely possible for a small population of large animals to live there without being officially discovered by science. What about you, Lauren?
I'm with you. I believe too. And for me, a big reason is the history of the stories.
The history?
Yes, this isn't a new idea from a movie. The stories of a wild man or a hairy giant have been a part of Native American legends for centuries. They called the creature Sasquatch.
Exactly. The fact that these stories are so old and come from the people who have lived on that land for thousands of years makes it feel more real to me. It's not just a modern myth.
It feels more like an oral history of a real creature, a creature they knew lived in the woods with them.
And it's interesting because it's not just us. A surprising number of people believe that Bigfoot could be real.
I was curious about this, so I looked up some statistics. According to a poll from 2019, around 11% of adults in the United States believe Bigfoot is a real creature.
11%. That's more than 1 out of every 10 people you meet.
Right, and some other polls have found even higher numbers. Another one I saw said it was closer to 21%. The numbers can change, but it consistently shows that millions of Americans believe.
Wow, so millions of people are open to the idea that there is a giant, hairy, ape-like animal walking through the American wilderness. That's fascinating.
It really is. It shows that many people think there are still mysteries left in the world to discover.
And this belief is fueled by sightings. People are constantly reporting that they have seen Bigfoot.
Yes, thousands of them. There's an organization called the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or BFRO for short. They collect these stories.
Okay, the BFRO. And what do their numbers say?
Their website has a database, a collection of reports, and it contains thousands and thousands of sightings from all over North America.
And these aren't just quick reports, are they?
No, many of them are very detailed. People describe exactly what they saw, where they were, what time it was. They talk about the creature's height, its color, how it moved.
And the interesting part is how similar the descriptions are, right?
Exactly. People from Florida to Washington State, from the 1950s to today, describe the same thing over and over.
A very tall creature, maybe 7 to 9 feet tall, covered in dark hair, walks on 2 legs like a human, but its body is built more like a large ape.
And sometimes they mention a very strong, unpleasant smell, or they hear strange sounds like deep howls or wood knocking.
That consistency is very powerful. It's harder to dismiss when so many different people report the same details.
So let's talk about the physical evidence. Beyond just stories, what is the most famous or convincing evidence for Bigfoot? For you, Jake, what's number one?
That's an easy one for me. It has to be the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Ah, of course, the 1967 film. Most people who know about Bigfoot have seen at least a little bit of it.
Yes. For those who don't know, it was filmed by two men, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, in Northern California. The video is less than a minute long, and it shows a large, hairy creature walking along a creek bed.
And it famously turns and looks directly at the camera for a moment.
That's the one. Now, for decades, people have debated this film. Skeptics say it's just a man in a gorilla suit.
Right, that's the common argument against it.
But many experts who have studied the film say it's not that simple. They point to the creature's muscles, which you can see moving under the fur. They say the way it walks, its gait, is not human. The arms are too long, the legs bend differently.
I've heard that too. That faking that specific walk with that kind of muscle movement would be almost impossible for a costume in 1967.
Exactly. It remains a mystery, but for me, it's very compelling evidence.
The film is definitely intriguing, but are there any other famous stories that are just as compelling? I mean, besides just a quick sighting.
Absolutely. There are some incredible stories out there. One of the most famous is the story of a prospector named Albert Ostman.
Albert Ostman? I'm not sure I've heard that one. What happened to him?
Well, his story is pretty wild. He claimed that in 1924 he was camping in British Columbia, Canada, when he was kidnapped by a Sasquatch.
Kidnapped? You mean taken against his will?
That's what he said. He reported that he was sleeping in his sleeping bag when a large creature picked him up, still inside the bag, and carried him for hours.
Wow, that must have been terrifying. Where did it take him?
He said he was taken to a valley where a family of 4 of these creatures lived, a mother, a father, and 2 children. He claimed he was held there for 6 days.
6 days? What did they do with him? How did they describe them? Well, the most common evidence is the footprints. That's where the name Bigfoot comes from.
Right, the giant tracks left in the mud or snow.
Thousands of casts have been made of these footprints. They are huge, sometimes up to 24 inches or 60 centimeters long, and they show details that are hard to fake.
Like what kind of details?
Well, there's a scientist, an anthropology professor named Dr. Jeff Meldrum. He has studied hundreds of these footprint casts. He points to things like a flexible midfoot, something human feet don't have, but apes do. He believes these details show that the tracks were made by a real, living animal.
So, a respected scientist is saying that the footprints are real. That adds a lot of credibility. That's a great point. The biggest argument, and it's a strong one, is the lack of a body. For a population of large animals to exist, you'd expect to find physical remains eventually. Bones, teeth, something.
It absolutely does. But for the sake of a balanced discussion, we should probably spend some time on the skeptical point of view. What do people who don't believe in Bigfoot say? And so far, nothing conclusive has ever been found. No Bigfoot has ever been hit by a car or found by a hunter or died of natural causes where a hiker could find it. That is strange. So, we have centuries of legends, thousands of modern eyewitness reports, a mysterious film, and footprint casts studied by scientists.
When you put it all together, it's a very interesting puzzle. We obviously think there's something to it, but what do our listeners think?
We would love to know, is Bigfoot real? Or is it just a story?
That is all the time we have for today's episode of Spooky English.
We hope you had fun exploring the mystery of Bigfoot with us, and we hope it was good practice for your English listening skills.
If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to like this episode and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss our future adventures.
We'll be back soon with more spooky stories from the world of the supernatural.
Until next time, keep listening and keep learning.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye for now.